The Spurs are back in action tonight after an exciting win in De'Aaron Fox's debut as a San Antonio Spurs. They will be in Charlotte taking on the Hornets team, who is only 12 wins on this season and is on a really bad losing streak. We talk about how the Spurs can capitalize off of this matchup and why a game like this is so important for the future of the San Antonio Spurs. What's good, Spurs Digest family? I am Bryan Colbert here with another Spurs Digest pre-game show, and these ones just going to continue to get more and more exciting because we're headed into All-Star break. But more importantly, we are past the trade deadline, which means that this team that we have right now is going to be the team we rock with as we head into the playoffs, as we make this playoff run. Spurs Digest family, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the doorbell anytime you want to be notified when we drop a video. We have been giving y'all content nonstop, and it's crazy. Y'all got us to over 5K. Now we're on the way to 6K, baby. So we appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that doorbell. Now let's get right into it because the Spurs have a chance to stack a win, get back-to-back wins after a really ugly win against the Atlanta Hawks. They take on a Charlotte Hornet team that has a ton of people out and a ton of injuries. So let's get right into that. Now you see Charles Bassey will also be out for us again tonight, but that is the only person right now as of 10:30 a.m. This is the injury report from 10:30 a.m. That is who they have listed as out right now. LaMelo Ball, questionable. He's been suffering with the left ankle injury. Trey Mann's out. Brandon Miller's out. Yusuf Nurkic. Cam Reddish is not with the team. They just made a big trade there, so they also aren't having Mark Williams. So this is a team that is down a lot of people. So this should be a game. You don't want to sleep on any team, but the Spurs are favorites in this game, and I gotta imagine they're going to win, and honestly win by a good amount. However, it's not really about that, right? Because a win's a win regardless if it's a bad team or not. However, when you're a Spurs team like this, and you have a new piece that's so important, that's such a big part of what you're planning on doing with this team, it is huge to be able to see what the other guys can do. And when you get a team like this, right, I got to imagine Spurs get off to a hot start. They keep their lead and hold on to a lead. And now you're starting to see these other guys get to play more, right? I want to see Malachi Branham get some burn. I want to see Blake Wesley get some more burn. I want to see what Stephon Castle can do with even more minutes off of that bench, because we're seeing the guys again adjusting to new roles. And for me, it's going to be a great game. For me, you don't want to call it a 2-0 game because it's still an NBA team. However, it's a great chance to just see what these guys can do and a great chance to build chemistry and just stack another win. Because what's really important here, and I want to point it out, the Spurs right now are only 3 games behind 9th place. Right now, 25 wins go to Phoenix Suns, Sacramento Kings, and the Golden State Warriors. We have 22 wins, so we are in the mix. And let's talk about that for a second. The Phoenix Suns, man, they're having some issues internally. The Sacramento Kings just made a huge change, as we know. They lost their star, so they're going to be on a downtick. And then the Golden State Warriors, they made a move to get Jimmy Butler. So these wins are important. These wins are very, very important, and you want to stack all the wins you can get when you're going up against a team that is like the Charlotte Hornets, where they're not getting a lot of wins. They're losing. You don't want to say they're tanking, but they're definitely on a downward tick. And there's some tough games ahead. You got Orlando coming up, you got Boston coming up, you got Phoenix. Yes, you got the Wizards, but again, the Wizards made some moves too. So you want to get wins like this, and to me, that's what makes this game really important, and to me, really big for a guy no other than De'Aaron Fox, who looked great that first outing, right? He looked great against the Atlanta Hawks. For a guy that just came in, he played more minutes than anybody else. There was definitely things you'd want to see cleaned up. However, you got to see the impact immediately on what De'Aaron Fox can do for this team and do for these other players. I talked about it in the pregame leading into the game. Devin Vassell was going to eat because of Fox, right? Devin Vassell a lot of times has had to been that number 2 option, which he's played that role well. Sometimes he's played the number 1 option role well, especially before Victor got here. However, I think this is a much more comfortable role for him. That 3rd option, that guy that is benefiting from how open the court gets made with De'Aaron Fox and with Victor Wembanyama. You saw the impact that these two had. You saw the way Victor was able to attack around the rim because he trusted De'Aaron Fox to get him the ball in the right places. It was great to see. It was great to see Chris Paul get a chance to get some burn with the starters, to get a chance to play with these guys. I think he's going to be very important on this playoff stretch that we have, because I do see this team as a playoff team. I do see the Spurs as a playoff team. I see us now as being one of those teams that, we got off to such a slow start. It's going to be really hard to, get past that point where we don't have to play in the play-in. But you let this Spurs team in the play-in with all of these different pieces, you are going to see some great things. And I know a lot of teams don't want to see that. So again, another chance for De'Aaron Fox to build chemistry with this team. De'Aaron Fox is already off to having a great season. And I feel like all of these numbers are actually going to improve on this Spurs team because the way we play basketball, the way we move the ball, and the way we're going to trust and rely on De'Aaron Fox. You saw he's not scared of this. He knows, this is a new team. Yes, I'm coming in with another star. However, I am the vet. I am the best player on this team. This is my team now. I'm going to show these young guys how to play. So I'm really excited to see what Fox does tonight because, again, it's not just what he does on a statistical level. It's how he's elevating all of these guys around him. It's going to be great to see because, again, I think this is a game where the Spurs can get off to a hot start early, and then Fox, the rest of the guys, Chris Paul, they can rest, they can chill while we let these other young guys play because, again, this depth for the Spurs, to me, is what's most important. The depth that we have, not a lot of people have a Jeremy Sochan on their bench. Not a lot of people have a Keldon Johnson on their bench. Not a lot of people have a Stephon Castle, who will probably be Rookie of the Year, on the bench. Julian Champagnie, he started almost all year and played well. Like, he played great. A lot of people don't have that mix of talent on the bench. It's crazy to look at this depth chart because if you look at that bench and the people that played against Atlanta, where you've got Julian Champagnie, Jeremy Sochan, Keldon Johnson, and then Stephon Castle, those are all people that were starters at one point for this team. And now they get to come off the bench and contribute in a role player mentality. Like, to me, it's an amazing position to be in. I don't know if there's a team right now that's in a better position as far as their future is concerned, because all of these guys are young. All of these guys know how to play, and all these guys have shown an ability to play in different roles. Not only in different roles, but in different positions on the court. All of those guys I mentioned can guard multiple positions. Julian Champagnie can guard the 1 through 3. Jeremy Sochan can guard the 1 through 5. Keldon Johnson can guard the 1 through 4, 1 through 5. Stephon Castle, the same thing. So you have a lot of guys that are versatile. You have a lot of guys that just want to win. You have a lot of guys that have the ability to do a lot of different things for the Spurs team. So games like this, where you're playing a team that is on a losing streak, where you're playing a team that doesn't have their stars, that has a lot of people injured, this is where you want to get the most out of that depth and really see what guys can do. I want to see big minutes from our bench tonight, guys. I really do. I know we're all excited to see De'Aaron Fox, but I also want to see big minutes from our bench. And then the last thing is just finish strong. Just finish strong as a team, right? Because we saw such a hot first half against the Atlanta Hawks, and then come out in the third quarter and you're just a little flat. You allowed them to gain momentum, and a team like Atlanta will take advantage of that. I don't think Charlotte has the firepower Atlanta has to be able to take advantage of things like that. However, you just want to instill good habits, right? You want to make good moves this way to go forward because, again, there are some tough games ahead. You're going to be seeing the Celtics. You're going to be seeing the Orlando Magic. These are tough teams. These are teams that are also, fighting for their position in the playoffs. So, it's exciting, man. To me, this is the type of basketball I really, really like to see. I like to see the other guys get in the mix. I like to see a team get out into a high lead and then be able to figure things out because chemistry is so important right now. That's the only thing the Spurs are missing. They have all of the pieces. Yes, we might need to bring in another big, but, when the small ball era, Jeremy Sochan can hold his own. Keldon Johnson can hold his own as big men off the bench. So very excited to see what these guys do. And remember, we still have Charles Bassey. He is out, and he will come back as well. So don't get too nervous or scared about the way this roster looks right now. Again, this is one of those games where we're going to get a win. I can almost guarantee we're going to get a win. I'm knocking on wood or nothing because I believe in these guys so much. But it's what happens when we get that lead, how we use the other guys, the rotations, the things that we see. We got to see those little things because that's what's going to pay dividends after the All-Star break as we go into this playoff push. Spurs Digest family, I know y'all are feeling good. How are y'all feeling on this Friday? The trade rumors are done. We don't got to talk about no speculation. We don't got to hear about how we need to move this guy. It's done now. It's over. These guys can just play basketball. They just can play hoops. And to me, you're feeling good, right? I don't think there was a world where we thought we'd get a De'Aaron Fox without moving a Keldon, without moving Dev, without having to maybe move our star rookie, without having to move Jeremy Sochan. We kept all of these guys. We kept all of these first-round picks, and to me, it's very exciting times right now. And these are the games where you really get to see, how deep we are. I don't think people realize how deep the Spurs are just yet, but I think games like this are going to show us. And then I'm excited to have games like this as we go into these really big matchups, like the Celtics game is going to be so much fun to watch, because I think that's going to be the true test and barometer of really where the Spurs are at with Fox. And then we have a couple of games to get him going. So by the time we see the Celtics, it's going to be feeling really, really good. Spurs Digest family, we want to hear from y'all, man. How was y'all Friday doing? How excited are y'all to see this game tonight? Let's hear all about it. Who y'all think going to be the leading scorer? Y'all know what to do in them comments, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. Make sure you click the doorbell to be notified every time we post, baby. This is Spurs Digest, another pregame show. I'm Bryan Colbert. Let's get this win tonight, Spurs family.